Hello, Mavs fans. It's your boy Bivs back again after the brief hiatus. I know you missed me. Um, Mavs coming off of two losses in back-to-back games. The first one against the Bucks, which it kind of is what it is. It was the Bucks. The second here against the Bulls maybe stings a little bit more, but you have to have the context. We have five guys out due to COVID protocols: Dorian Finney-Smith, Jalen Brunson, Josh Richardson, Maxi Kleber, and Dwight Powell. The Pelicans game from last Monday was postponed since that happened. We beat the Hornets, who lost Gordon Hayward in that game, so that likely was a factor there, although we did get off to a great start. We then lost to the Bucks in the final seconds the other day on Friday, and now we lost to the Bulls pretty much start to finish. But in this game, we also lost Tim Hardaway Jr. So essentially, it's Luka, KP coming off the injury, and a bunch of new guys, whether that be rookies or newly acquired guys like Iwundu, James Johnson. I guess Boban's not new, but, not necessarily somebody that's going to be able to put up 20 and 10 on a given night. Unlike some of those other guys that we're missing. So, again, it is what it is. I'm not going to get too caught up on wins and losses during this stretch. By the way, THJ is dealing with a groin injury. We have no idea the severity of that issue. Some speculate that he may have just been getting some rest. But since we're having a back-to-back here, he may have some soreness. They didn't want to aggravate it by playing him in both games. I don't know. We'll see. But Luka said before the season that, avoiding COVID would be key in deciding how the season goes for teams. And I would say that thus far that has proven to be true. Has knocked our team off track when we were on a roll for a little while there. But that's okay. I think we'll end up coming out stronger on the other side of it. But I will get into these games. These last two games in particular. Take a quick break and then we'll come back in. Hello and welcome back yet again to the Bibbs Corner podcast. I am your host, as always, Mike Bibbins. You can find me on Twitter at Bibbs Corner for all the sports-related content. And, as I mentioned, our three key defenders were out in both of our last two games, and it was very evident. In the Bucks game, Giannis and Middleton, early in the game especially, were pretty much getting whatever shots they wanted. We know that Maxi is the best defender we have for Giannis, just because of his strength and length to be able to contest Giannis' shots without fouling, as well as take some of that physical contact, that banging that Giannis is going to bring. So, and then, of course, we probably would have had Richardson and Dorian Finney-Smith on Middleton, whereas we ended up with, I believe, Tim Hardaway Jr. on him early in the game, which is an easy matchup for Middleton. So, again, missing those three key defenders is a huge issue for us in both of these games. The Bulls' key guys, Levine and Kobe White, they're smaller guys. So we actually did have good matchups for them. Iwundu and Josh Green actually started and did a great job against both of those guys, but it was the others who went off against us because of our lack of defenders. In this last particular game, also with THJ out, we needed someone to step up offensively, and that simply did not happen. Luka went off in the first half, but other than that, he ended up getting no help, and then he didn't do much scoring-wise in the second half. Key stats in both the game. First, I would probably annoy a lot of people if I didn't mention this. I don't care as much, but it's whatever. Luka did pass Michael Jordan for all-time triple-doubles with 29 now. Just flying up that list. You're going to be hearing about him passing more people over the next few weeks, most likely, before the year is out. It is what it is. In the Bucks game, Luka had 28 points, 10 boards, 13 assists. He was 1 for 7 from 3, 3 for 7 from the free throw line, 12 for 24 overall. Pretty much, again, having to step up, having to do more than he hopefully will have to once our team is back together and everybody's starting to settle in. But the 1 for 7 from 3 hurts. The 3 for 7 from the line hurts, especially when we ended up in what was a 2-point game with like 17, 18 seconds left. And really, I guess it ended up being a 2-point game with like 6 seconds left when we had to foul to put the Bucks on the line at that point after 2 misses. In this most recent game against the Bulls, Luka had 36, 16 boards, and 15 assists. With 2 steals. Keep in mind he had 30 points at the half, which means he only scored 6 in the second half. He was 6 for 11 from 3, which is huge. If you combine both games, that's 7 for 18, which is a very respectable percentage in the upper 30s. He was 4 for 6 in the line from the line again, in this one, I should say, which again is not a great percentage. 2/3 of your free throws is not good. So again, we want to see him hitting those free throws if he gets there, but that's a whole nother issue. I'm going to talk about that in a second. He was 13 for 30 overall tonight. Did not get much help on the offensive end, so he ended up having to do a lot of chucking, and that kind of is what it is. I'm not holding that against him tonight. Now, the bigger issues with Luka right now. First of all, he's not getting to the line. 6 free throws against the Bulls today, 7 against the Bucks the other day. You could argue he probably should have over 10 free throws every night. But, he's getting hit just as much. It just seems the refs have finally grown tired of his constant complaining. And this feels like the result. This is the chickens coming to roost. This is the result of the boy who cried foul and the refs just not trying to hear it anymore. One of the other adjustments I've seen is not that they're just not calling fouls for him anymore. They are calling fouls a lot of the time, but they're calling them early in the possession. He'll do some herky-jerky movements to get even with his man and then try to kind of keep them off by using his body. And what the refs have been doing, I've noticed, is when they do call fouls in those situations, they call them on the early bumps before he gets into a shooting motion. So it ends up being a side out of bounds versus being an and one opportunity or at least 2 free throws if he gets fouled in his shooting motion or what have you. I have to hope that Luka kind of works on his relationship with the refs going forward. Tonight he got a tech during a timeout, so it's not the normal in the middle of a play, in between play, whatever, yelling at the refs, taking himself out of defense. He did a good job of not doing that, but apparently the ref overheard him complaining or talking in the huddle during a timeout. And it was funny because watching on NBA TV, like the broadcast had gone away, but the camera was still showing what was happening in the arena. And I watched the ref, do the symbol for a tech and like watch the whole Mavs bench like kind of looking like it's this dude serious. So again, reputation, it hurts you. It hurts the team. And it's not going to be, he has to work on his reputation as a complainer. The refs are humans. Like I've said before, there are only so many ref crews, and he appears to have gotten under the skin of a lot of them at this point. So again, he has to work on that relationship with the refs, or it is going to hold him back and us back for some time, quite honestly. You don't want to be in a situation where, we're late in the game and Luka's going to drive and there's probably going to be contact, and because the refs don't like him, if it's not blatantly obvious, he's not hit across the face or pushed down, and they just swallow the whistle because they don't like him. I'd rather not be in that position. In the Bucks game, THJ gave us 22 points to help pace the scoring. He is, the second right now most dependable scorer on the team. KP coming back, he was 6 for 19 in 29 minutes against the Bucks. Had 15 and 10, 2 for 7 from 3. He mentioned after the game that if he knew he was going to play 29 minutes, he would not have forced bad shots, which kind of annoyed me, to be honest. Dude, you're the highest paid player on the team. You don't have anything to prove. Go play basketball, play your game, get your shots, get your looks. Don't rush shots or force things because you think you're only going to play a certain amount of time and you want to get some numbers. That's come on, man. I'm not sure what's going on with KP. He doesn't look great right now. And it looks more than coming off an injury situation. I expected him to hit the ground running, quite honestly. So it's a little bit disappointing that we're 3 games in and I don't feel like he's really gotten himself, where he needs to be, especially since I know he's been practicing with the team for a little while as well. I'm hoping that changes soon. I doubt he's going to play tomorrow in the back-to-back, but we'll see. We'll definitely see. What else do we have? We got to talk about it. Bucks game. So in the Bucks game, we ended up with possession of the ball late in the game, 36 seconds left, down 2. We ran a play, and with about 21 seconds left, Trey Burke missed a 3. Fine. But Willie Cauley-Stein got the offensive rebound. The ball whipped around, ended up back in Trey Burke's hands. I thought Burke could have dumped it off to Willie Cauley-Stein for a dunk, but he didn't. And ends up in the hands of Porzingis, who launches a ugly-looking 3 that does not touch the rim at all. And Luka was visibly upset after the play. So DiVincenzo got the offensive rebound. Willie Cauley-Stein didn't give as much of an effort as maybe you would have liked, as DiVincenzo undercut him from the board. It's always hard to read an air ball and judge where the ball is going to go after the air ball. It kind of hit the bottom of the backboard and went down. So again, I'm not going to give Willie that hard of a time on that either. But Luka was visibly upset. And initially, my thought was that he was upset because after DiVincenzo got the rebound, Willie Cauley-Stein just kind of jogged back up the court like the game was over, when there were still 10 seconds left. And then somebody else came over and got the foul of 7 point something. So a couple seconds came off the clock that maybe didn't have to. So that was my initial thought, was that Luka was mad because guys were walking away like the game was over when there was plenty of time to get a foul and maybe get another shot at this. But the later speculation came that Luka was upset because he did not get the ball back on that possession after the offensive rebound. There are others who said that he didn't try hard enough to get the ball back because you could not even see him on the screen. But I don't know, man. The body language, the emotional displays are not a good look. Now, this is another reminder that Luka is young. He's being tested on his leadership this year, and his leadership skills are still developing. Now, with that said, you can already tell, and I think this may be a factor in how KP is playing, that guys are nervous around him. Guys are scared to make mistakes around him. And you got to imagine it's a combination of things with Luka and Carlisle for the rookies. And that's hard on a team. The team needs to feel like you have their back. And when you're having emotional reactions to a player making a mistake, it hurts the team. There are little subtle moments during the game where Luka does this as well, where somebody makes a mistake and you can tell in his body language that he's really, come on. And again, this is a part of him having to realize his power and his effect on his teammates. When things are going well, he's very rah-rah, boost them up and happy and whatnot. But when things are not, so far I haven't seen him be able to calm guys down or let them know or motivate them to do things. He seems, and it may again be part of his having grown up around nothing but veteran professionals pretty much his entire life, that he's expecting things of guys and just expecting them to perform, and again hasn't been in a position to have to bring guys up. I can't remember what game it was, but it was the Timberwolves had a game where someone on the team, I can't remember who it was. It's actually annoying me right now that I can't remember who it was. But the guy makes like a huge mistake that pretty much cost them the game. And Ricky Rubio runs over and is like talking to him like, hey, like, it's one game, it's one mistake. Like, you're going to have 100 more chances to have opportunities like that and do the right thing. Like a leader is usually going to do. And Ricky Rubio's an older veteran, so that's what you expect from him. Luka is in the process of having to transition to be that, and he's definitely not ready for that type of role. It doesn't appear. Man, I don't know how much to say about that. I feel like this is something I would want to kind of bounce off of somebody else, and that's where having a one-man show kind of sucks. But that's my interpretation of what I saw and what I'm seeing from Luka. When things are going bad, he'll elevate his game, but he still expects his teammates to simply perform versus being the guy to get them to perform or to give them that confidence or what have you. I mean, he's still whipping the ball to them, but they're getting the ball like, oh shit, I better make this shot or Luka's gonna be pissed. That's my interpretation. I could be wholly and completely wrong. Sound off. Let me know how you feel about that. I'm willing to have that discussion. But that's where I see it, and it's kind of frustrating as an outside observer. Let's see. When you look at this Bulls game, for example, people were not taking shots. It's not like a bunch of people were missing besides KP, who obviously he's going to take shots. He makes all the money on the team, so he better be taking shots. But like the other guys were turning down shots and just seeming nervous. They seemed like they weren't willing to make a mistake, were making mistakes. There was a lot of overpassing, just doing too much, trying not to be that guy. James Johnson, 5 turnovers, all of them bad, all of them on passes that didn't need to happen, or were rushed in one way or another. Again, the Bulls, with that said, their top 5 scorers were Lauri Markkanen, who's coming back off of COVID protocols, Garrett Temple, Thaddeus Young, Otto Porter, and Wendell Carter Jr. Now, those first 4, you could clearly see where Maxey, Josh Richardson, and DFS's absences were felt because they likely would have been the primary defenders on those guys. Or, instead of Josh Green having the primary assignment on Kobe White, he would have been the one guarding Garrett Temple, or Wundu would have been off the bench, and they would have been fresh. They would have fresh legs. Maxey would have probably been guarding Markkanen and Thad Young or Otto Porter, like that, or DFS would have been guarding those guys. Like that's where their absence was felt, because we only had 2 real lockdown type defenders, and the rest of the others just went off. Bright spots. I have to point out bright spots because I can't be all doom and gloom on here, right? KP did have his first 20-point game tonight, 20 points and 8 boards. He was 9 for 19 from the field after going 6 for 16 in the first game and 6 for 19 last game against the Bucks. So 9 for 19, much better shooting night after a cold start. He was 0 for 7 from 3 and really started getting his game going when he started going inside, which is something I'd hoped to see from him as well. As he starts to get fresher, he can't just be a spot-up shooter. That's how he looked at the beginning of last season. When he started getting inside more is when his game started to expand. And I do believe we will benefit from him working inside out. I did notice also in the second half that KP and Luka were running some pick and roll more often than they were running pick and pop, and that also helped open up things. They put Willie Cauley-Stein in the corner. He took a three. He missed it, but it looked good. So that's something that still works in the two big lineup, in my opinion. And hopefully we let Willie shoot a couple of those again a night just to see what we have there. Another bright spot, I've kind of mentioned it already, but Iwundu and Green have been playing great defense during this stretch. Iwundu, as the primary defender on Levine, held him to 10 points on 1 of 8 from the field. And Josh Green on Kobe held him to 0 points on 0 from 5 from the field. I don't even remember him actually doing much of anything on the court, which is why we brought Josh Green in. If you look at the fact that Kobe White averages, I'm going to guess off the top of my head, 18 or so points a game, and Green erased that production, I don't care that he only scored 4 points. That was a 22-point game. And I'm going to double-check Kobe White's scoring. Real quick. Let me just double-check. 17.7, as I thought. So Green scored 4 points, held Kobe White scoreless. That's a 22-point game. All right? Stop giving Green so much grief. Y'all are sickening. Y'all disgust me. You annoy me by talking down on this kid. We also saw in the second half, we saw him getting to the basket on cuts. He had a nice up and under, a reverse layup. He had a nice take where Lauri Markkanen fouled him. Those are the type of looks he needs to be getting right now. Every now and then he'll get an open look at a three. He needs to be able to be comfortable taking that as well, but that's not his game. I want to see him dive into the basket. I want to see him in the open floor, and I want to continue to see him playing lockdown defense. DJ Augustine gave him a hard time against the Bucks. I saw a lot of people, why is he committing so many fouls? Come on, man. DJ Augustine is in the league exactly for that reason. He is a wily, savvy vet. He's going to know how to take advantage of a rookie's over-aggression and get to the foul line. That's what he's going to do. You can't expect a rookie to know how to play against a guy like DJ Augustine. Be realistic, people. And it was a christening for Green. Like, he has to go through those type of games to come back and give you a game like he gave us tonight against Kobe White and Zach LaVine. I just went on a rant I didn't plan on going on. Willie Cauley-Stein also has been a bright spot. He had 11 and 11 against the Bucks, 10 and 5 tonight after a cold first half. Now, I do have to mention this for Willie. It hasn't all been great. He has missed multiple dunks. The first few that he missed this year, I just assumed were, fluky type things. But it's starting to look like maybe his hands aren't great. Like, maybe his finishing on the lob catch is not great. And he's catching them with two hands, which makes it seem like that should be an easy put down. But I don't know. For whatever reason, it's not for him. I don't know if he needs to hold the ball differently when he's trying to dunk or what. He needs to actually catch it and then throw it in. It's interesting to see. I'm hoping it's something that changes, especially if they're going to continue to start him along with Porzingis. Another bright spot, Tyrell Terry tonight showed extreme confidence. He played 15 minutes. He finished with 4 points and 2 assists. But late in the game, Terry showed confidence. He took Archie Benacino, I think. Archie D. I don't know how to pronounce that dude's name. The Archie dude with the man bun. Took him off the bounce for a bucket. Got inside a couple other times. One for a dish to another player for a score. And then another just getting inside. He had a bucket over Giannis in the previous game. So the one thing about this weird period right now is that it's forcing us to play the rookies. And it's forcing us to play a guy like Iwundu 30 minutes in these games. And we're seeing this is valuable time for all these guys because Rick's getting to see what they can bring. The rookies are getting some confidence, some comfort on the floor. And, when we get into a pinch, Rick knows what to expect, who he can plug in for what. Like, now we know what Iwundu is capable of defensively. He looks like a Dorian Finney-Smith light right now. Like, he may even be a better defender, honestly. Doesn't have the shooting stroke that Dorian Finney-Smith has, But that was developed over time. Like maybe he can develop that too over time. But in the meantime, if Finney Smith or somebody like that gets into foul trouble and we need a defender on the court, we know one who can handle that. Green, same thing. If depending on the situation, we know we can plug him in at the very least to be a defender and a spark of energy. We know he's gonna chase down loose balls and rebounds and things like that. Like I love his energy. I love that he runs the floor. He makes the other guys run back on defense for the other team, and that takes a toll on them. Zach LaVine was chasing him back up the court to make sure he wasn't getting layups because Luka has been hitting him for those, and you know that's in the scouting report now. So you have to look at the positives. It's going to be rough in the interim. It could be worse. We watched the Heat play the end of their bench, guys that they had no plans on playing probably. Big minutes the other day when they were down to 8 players. The 76ers, same thing. So we're not quite in that situation. We still have our stars, so we can't complain too much. The next game is against the Raptors, who have not been right this year and are trying to come back around. Chris Boucher is starting to get more minutes. They're trying different things, different looks. They could be a problematic team for us. We know Maxey previously clamped up Pascal Siakam back when he was still playing well, and he's starting to get a little bit better lately than he had been. So we're meeting them at the wrong time, quite frankly. But there's a possibility I saw that Finney Smith and or Brunson could come back. Again, we don't know THJ's situation, and we don't know if KP is going to be out on the second night of a back-to-back, so we'll see. Otherwise, we just have to see who shows up and what shows up. Again, we're probably going to be looking for somebody to join Luka offensively, whether KP plays or THJ plays or not. If neither of them plays, then we may really be in trouble. Somebody's got to score besides Luka. Otherwise, we're going to be on a losing streak. So, man, I feel like I talked a lot. I try to keep this as tight as possible. But other than that, people, I'm out. I'll be back tomorrow after the Raptors game to recap it. And with that, I'll say peace.